Hey y'all, hope you're having a good day. I want to talk about something that I kind of noticed early on in this whole Summerwell's disappearance thing. I tried to reach out to creators early on and they kind of dismissed it, didn't think it was anything, but it was something that just kept like nagging me. There was just something about it I felt like. And so I want to talk about, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes. I'll point that out to y'all what I noticed. But I want to talk about the Cornbread Mafia. Okay, it doesn't go by that today. It's actually called Dixie Mafia, and it's still very much alive and running in the southern states. It is mostly in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, Virginia, West Virginia, southern states. And it is like a Confederate gang. It's tied to white supremacy. It's connected to racism and the KKK. And today it's kind of commonly seen as like a redneck criminals gang. Uh, and the thing is, Tennessee is like a transit area. Just the way that the interstates run, they traffic through there. Meth, amphetamines, pot, cocaine is really big in the area. Um, now, they do try to keep a low profile, but this is a gang known for violence. Um, it does have hitmen, it does have enforcers, but usually it's only dangerous to the people that are involved in the gang. But it is a very violent gang, and they are involved in illegal drugs. They are involved in gun trade, prostitution, embezzlement, auto theft, chop shops, things like that. Kind of petty criminals on the lower end. Um, Now, the old timers of the Dixie Mafia, the ones that have been around for a while, may surprise you who they might be. It's usually like wealthy business owners, police officers, pastors, uh, lawyers, farmers, people involved in politics. Um, and that it has like a, sad to say, Christian element to it, I guess you could say. I don't know how they justify that, but the FBI calls them thugs. And one of the people that's kind of been a main person, or he's called the godfather of grass. His name is John Robert Boone. He's one of the leaders of the original Cornbread Mafia. He was arrested in Canada in 2016. He received 20 years in prison, still there today. Um, Now, the thing that caught my attention early on was, and I didn't really recognize it, or it didn't like click with me until um, Dawn and Candace went on that live, and Dawn went to the bathroom and all that mess that happened. When that he scanned over to Candace, and it panned down, and people were saying, that her wrist, we saw that red mark around her wrist. People were suggesting, well, did she try to kill herself? Just trying to figure out what that was, but it turned out to be a red bracelet. Now, that clicked with me because I noticed when Chris Madonna was sat down with Hunter that he had on a red bracelet as well. And I started thinking, well, is there a connection between them two wearing a red bracelet on the right wrist? Um, and turns out that the red band is affiliated with gang, and you see it here. And I just got thinking about, Hunter throwing up those gang signs when they went to the swimming hole the last day summer, the 15th. So I'm going to play this, and then after telling you all of that, I'm going to play the clip with Dr. Phil and Candace and Dawn, and see if you think about it a little bit differently now. I personally believe that Candace is involved in a group like that, and that might be who Dawn has said she gets mixed up with the wrong people, or making the wrong friends. Well, I wonder, could this be what he's talking about? I'm curious what you think. Watch this clip with Dr. Phil and let me know what you think about it, okay?
I guess I might have to ask you some hard questions. I told you this. Did you do anything to Summer?
No.
Do you know what happened to Summer?
No.
Do you know who took Summer?
No.
Anybody in your family involved with this?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And people are always going to point their fingers to people closest to somebody. It's just the nature of how it goes. What do you got to say to those people?
I don't know what to say, but they're wrong.
Why are they wrong?
Because I had nothing to do with this.
Okay, what jumped out at you here?
Immediately, when she said no for the third time, it was quiet. It's a whisper.
Okay, there's a distinct difference here qualitatively.
Yes.
No.
Do you know what happened to Summer?
No.
Do you know who took Summer?
Okay, that time, nothing came out of her mouth.
Right.
So, first question.
I told you this. Did you do anything to Summer?
No.
Do you know?
Okay, did you do anything, Summer? No.
Demonstrative, no. What happened to Summer?
No.
Do you know?
What happened to Summer?
Almost identical answer.
Yeah, same qualitative answer.
Who took Summer?
All right.
Do you know who took Summer?
Head shakes no still. The voice doesn't even say anything. A silent no comes out, and then she adjusts.
We call that fading facts.
Okay, then she gets out a weak no.
No.
You hear strong no's to the first two questions,
Correct.
but then when you say, do you know?
Right.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that?
So I immediately wanted to go further and push a little harder. And I will say, when you do what we do for a living, sometimes people cry and you force them to cry. So this immediately caused the next question.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the next tape.
Is there any reason anyone near you would want to hurt you or your kids?
Not that I'm aware of.
What do you think should happen to somebody that did this? To the person that did this, what do you think should happen to them?
They should be put away for the rest of their lives. I mean, they should be tormented, I think.
Out of the gate, if I ask you what happened to Jordan, he was missing. Or what should happen to that person, don't answer it because I know it would be bad. You wouldn't say, it wouldn't be a pause there. You wouldn't say put him away for a long time, he should go away forever. You would have a very extremely graphic answer to that. Exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't take me 5 seconds to think about it. Give me 10 seconds in a room alone with him, and we'll be through.
If someone stole your dog,
Yeah, same answer.
that's the answer.
Yeah, same answer. But here, what you get is very different. Here, what you get is a pause and then a response.
The person that did this, what do you think should happen to them?
Okay, now, you said, what do you think should happen to them? First thing she does is close her eyes.
Yes.
She's blocking.
We call that eye blocking or escaping, right?
Yes,
We're
yeah.
getting away.
And then there's a pause.
Yep, she's thinking.
Watch your respiration. Watch your
Yeah.
breathing. You can't miss it.
They should be put away for the rest of their lives. I mean, they should be tormented, I think.
A lot here. We see her eyebrow go up there. She's not sure what she should say. Everything she's doing says I'm unsure and shouldn't be saying this. That's what we're seeing there.
Yes, for sure. And then you'll notice if I ask you those same questions, your chin would jut. You would say that person needs to be put away for the rest of their life and tormented with no second guessing. The other thing you likely would not do is drift down into your right in an emotional state. We haven't seen a lot of emotion, but we see it here. The guys who run organized crime around you, you worried about them at all?
Well, they questioned him, and he has an alibi, but,
What about those fellas that live around there in the Cornbread Mafia?
Cornbread Mafia.
That's what we call them where we live.
I have no idea. I've heard about some hillbilly mafia type stuff and everything, and all these different boys. And we've tried to steer clear from all these.
This is wires up, man.
I've tried to steer clear from all these people just as much as possible. And I think they've kind of seen us as targets because they have come up and stole our stuff. And they come up in my shed and stole all of my mechanic tools at one time. When they knew we were gone. They knew me and her were together. Just hang on.
Have you guys put any kind of security or anything on your place?
No, we don't have any kind of security.
Okay, now this is significant to me for a lot of different reasons. We haven't seen a lot of tears from her. She's talked about Summer. She's talked about her disappearance. She's talked about looking for her. She's talked about her being gone. She's gone down into her room where she lives. She's picked up her toys. She's held her toys. She's looked at the bed she's not in. She's looked at trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger, and not a tear. But then you ask about the Cornbread Mafia, which is a colloquial term for a kind of organized grassroots crime syndicate in Tennessee.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And let's see what happens when you ask. Let's pay attention to her.
What about those fellas that live around there in the Cornbread Mafia?
Cornbread Mafia.
That's what we call it. So we started by trying to give her a little space with organized crime.
Yeah. And so Greg brings up organized crime, doesn't register anything with her. As soon as I say Cornbread Mafia, we'll watch this side of her mouth start dragging down. Because that's when the emotion hits.
Cornbread Mafia.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, right there is when you say it.
Where we live with this.
I have no idea. I've heard about some hillbilly mafia type stuff and everything, and all these different boys. And we've tried to steer clear from all these.
This is wires up, man.
I've tried to steer clear.
We call this insulating and running. She insulates, she starts crying, so we can't get to her. In other words, psychologically, we can't speak to her. And we see the emotions. As soon as I say Cornbread Mafia, right there, as we see that mouth start dragging down within seconds. And that's how long it takes to get into the brain, work around, do its thing, and say, hey, this isn't good. And it shows emotions coming from this that most likely shouldn't be there. Which, of course, we'll discuss later.
I will also say, are the tears real? Absolutely, because you can't fake a snotty nose, just to use regular old terms. And what we know is that she is feeling pain. She is feeling emotion here that we didn't see any other place in the story. So this feels...
we don't know what it is.
That's right.
It could be fear.
That's right.
It could be guilt. It could be fear and guilt. It could be any number of things.
We can't read minds. We read symptoms, as you say all the time. We read symptoms, but those are pretty clear symptoms.
Yeah.
Clear from all these people just as much as possible. And I think they've kind of seen us as targets because they have come up and stole our stuff. And stole all of my mechanic tools at one time. When they knew we were gone. They knew me and her were together.
Okay, at this point, she wants out. She came there to help find her daughter.
Correct.
But you've raised the stakes to the point that forget about my daughter. I want out of this room.
It's all about me at that point.
I can't do this.
So listen, they're trying to help. They're trying to help.
Yeah, we're trying to
It's not helping me.
It's okay. Let's give you a minute, okay?
Said they're trying to help, so they're not helping me.
That's right. That made us...
They're not helping me.
If she had said, well, how's this going to help Summer? Our response would have been different. But that took us down the path.
That's when
they're not helping me.
So what do you think? Obviously, Candace is quite proud of her correct Confederate flag and everything. And I wanted to point this out. This tattoo here is a cross with a snake around it. And the cross symbolizes Jesus, and the snake wrapped around it symbolizes Satan. I just thought that was kind of something interesting that I also saw. There's so many pictures of Little Summer that disturbed me so bad, besides the shaved head and the hair color. This picture disturbs me as much as the pictures where she's always covering her privates. In my opinion, something has happened to this little girl. I can't help but to believe that Candace is definitely involved in a group. This gang. I believe that in my heart. It's my opinion. It's not a fact. And I do believe that Hunter's involved in something along those lines as well. And the sad thing is this little baby that we all have grown to love and care about has gotten caught in the crosshairs, and that's just my opinion. I do believe that there are drugs involved in Summer's disappearance, and I do believe Candace knows exactly what happened. It makes me wonder when Dawn says that she hangs around the wrong kind of people and makes the wrong kind of friends, if that's not what he's talking about. And, maybe he doesn't even know everything that she's been involved in. I'm curious of y'all's take on this. Let me know. And y'all have a good evening, and I will talk to you soon.